And if you would like to come up, Mary, and I'll introduce you. Hello. Today's speaker is Mary Morrison. She began her Toastmasters journey in 1998 when a friend invited her to a Toastmasters meeting. Mary realized that Toastmasters were encouraging, they were good listeners, and always learning. She wanted to be a part of it. Since joining Toastmasters, Mary has served in many officer roles, and she's belonged to multiple clubs and achieved the Distinguished Toastmasters Award. Today, she shares her tips on selecting a speech topic. Thank you.
Maybe you're like me, or many Toastmasters I've known, and you get really stuck on what to talk about when it's time to give a speech. So stuck that you delay, cancel, put it off. Because you think, how could I possibly have anything that is of value enough or that I can get organized enough to talk about? Well, I want to bust that myth today, because you are the most fascinating group of people I have ever heard. Look at what we just heard about Darcy. The courage, the strength, the leadership that every person in this group shows just amazes me each meeting. But how do you actually narrow this whole universe that's your life to a very specific speech topic? And I think that's the trick of really selecting a topic and being comfortable with what you're going to talk about. So that's what I'm going to cover today. Where do you get those ideas from, and how do you really focus the speech enough to be able to give a speech? I think sometimes we get really trapped as Toastmasters because we hear good speakers. We hear great speakers. You might even look at me and think, I could never be as good as Mary. Why should I ever give a speech? Well, you didn't hear me 16 years ago when I could barely do anything besides look at my script and read from it. And it was a good thing that I wrote smile at the end of the line, or I would never have had any facial expression. Because good speakers get that way through lots and lots and lots of speaking. And then they know how to not tackle the whole topic of world peace, but give you just some very specific ideas about maybe one idea about world peace, if that's their topic. So we'll cover that today. This is, as Jennifer mentioned, actually from a presentation that Toastmasters provides called Selecting Your Speech Topic. So I'm going to cover those points. They're available online. Jennifer, if you would show the very front of that manual. This is all available to anybody for free by going into the Toastmasters website and say selecting your topic and searching. When you search that topic, you'll see that manual comes up, and it's free digital download. There are two typical topics, sources that you can use when you want to select a topic. One is your own inspiration, your own personal experience. You can see that Darcy really focused on one very narrow aspect of her life. She could take that really broad topic from travel, and then she had to think about how to really narrow it down. She has lots of experiences she probably could have drawn in about travel once she picked the specific topic, and then really start to narrow. Our own experiences help us pick a topic. Think of any picture on your phone or your camera, and there was a reason you took that picture. And that picture probably inspires you to have various thoughts. And if you can think of an opening about that picture, 3 points about that picture you want to share, and then a closing, you have a speech topic that comes from your own experience that reveals something about who you are. And in Toastmasters, What we do very specifically is try to build a skill. So if you're working on a speech that is about organizing your thoughts, you take that specific topic and you say, here's the 3 points I want to make to organize my thoughts. Maybe the skill you're working on is vocal variety. Well, here's some phrasing or some words I want to add. Each time you give a speech, you want to emphasize a very specific skill that you're working on, at least when you speak to Toastmasters. That's what it means to do a speech from the Competent Communication Manual. Maybe you're not terribly inspired, but you've heard something that you want to learn more about. And in learning about it, you want to share it with us. So you use, rather than a personal experience to give a speech, you use a reference point. I wanted to learn more about how money was made. So I did some research on the U.S. Mint. Actually, very specifically, I had heard that it costs more to make a penny than the penny itself is worth. But the U.S. doesn't want to get rid of our pennies. We love our pennies. So while some countries have gotten rid of that lowest denomination, the U.S. won't get rid of pennies. So if I wanted to give a speech on money and how money is made very specifically, I would research what it meant and what it cost to make a penny and what's the value of a penny. And I would add my opening and my closing. I have no experience making money, except maybe earning money, but not really physically making money. But I could research and share then with the club about making money or making a penny. Or maybe your topic is how the internet works. I mean, just poisonous frogs in the Bolivian jungle. You know, think of everything, any newspaper article. There's so much research that goes into it, and those can all be great speech topics. So if you find yourself stuck just for inspiration, look at your phone. See what pictures it might have on it. When you read an article, what triggers your interest about that article? Those make great speech topics. To narrow it down then, to narrow your selection, you really want to think about who's my audience? What message specifically are they looking for? And what points can I make for them that really make my point powerful? So when you think about giving a speech, typically, if you have 5 to 7 minutes, if you have longer than 5 to 7 minutes, I'd break it into 5 to 7 minute chunks. So you always have an opening, you have 3 points that you want to make, and you have a closing in every 5 to 7 minute speech. So you do your opening, make your 3 points, and there's a couple of stories, or there's a little bit of research about the 3 points that you're trying to make. That's about how long an audience will pay attention. Every 5 to 7 minutes, you want to transition to the next point. So if you're giving a 45-minute speech, you really have about 6 speeches within that. And I know that seems like a lot, but say your topic really is world travel, how many different speeches could you give about world travel? Together, there are a lot of experiences and a lot of different perspectives about world travel that you could use. But you do want to be really focused on your audience. In Toastmasters, we just love that you give any speech, and we'll evaluate you on any topic. But say you need to very specifically talk to an audience about travel or about change or whatever your specific topic is, financial planning. Then you want to really know what is it that they want to know specifically that would be of value to them. When they walk away, what can I tell them that's based on my experience or my research that might be of value to them? So you want to consider the audience, who they are, what their experiences are, what the specific occasion is. Why have you been asked to speak? Is it to entertain someone? Is it to inspire them? Is it to inform them? Is it to fill a program? Then Toastmasters helps you really share how to give the speech, how to not be nervous when you're giving it. And it even teaches us a little bit about how to organize our thoughts so that we're good at it. What it can't do is make you an expert on the topic. That's something that you bring in. Your own enthusiasm and your own interest. You add all of those to the mix. And that's something that only you can bring to your audience. You do want to be very specific, though. Remember, especially when you're new at Toastmasters, you're probably not going to give a Nobel Peace Prize winning speech. That's okay, because you're here to learn and practice. I want to see if I can be really organized in my points in giving this speech. Maybe you want to try a new technique with your hands. Maybe, like me, you heard Mary, you really never do more than this kind of a motion. We'd like to see you do something bigger. So for many speeches, I made my arms do wild things just so I could see if I could break them free from my body. So remember, you've got a good topic. You bring yourself and your own experiences to it, and you practice with us Toastmasters. I gave you all a card because in my experience, when I'm really stuck with giving a speech, I take out an index card and I think of a topic, any topic that you want. Write it on the speech. Write down 3 points you might like to make about that topic. Write down the word topic, opening, the numbers 1, 2, 3, and closing. And there's the outline of your next speech. Whatever your topic is, you make 3 points about it, add a few stories in, give yourself an opening that draws people's attention, a closing that summarizes everything, and Toastmasters, you're ready for your next speech. Topics are all around us. I've seen people give a speech on a penny. I've seen someone give a speech on a penny, about a penny, and give 3 different speeches about a penny that they drew out of their pocket. When they talked about the role of minerals in our lives, when they talked about the year, the date, when they talked about George Washington. 3 different speeches from 1 single penny. Priceless. Madam Toastmaster.
I'm always impressed with a wonderful speech and a visual aid that I can take home and pin up on my bulletin board. Thank you very much.